Hi, this is Chris Stoker, CEO of Adranos. We've developed a new solid rocket fuel that can increase the range of missile and other firing systems by more than 40%. This capability comes at a critical time for our nation, as competitors such as China and Russia have surpassed us in certain capabilities. In fact, the U.S. military has stated that one of its top priorities is extending the range of its firing systems. That is exactly what we at Adranos can do. We've demonstrated this capability in a live flight test funded by the Army, where we launched rockets containing our fuel, which we call Alitech, and compared those to rockets containing traditional fuel. We demonstrated the most significant increase in performance in solid rocket in more than 65 years, and were named the grand prize winners of the Army's X-Tech search competition. The problem with traditional fuel is that it's inefficient. The slide shows a magnified fuel source during combustion, where chunks of fuel break off from the fuel source and in most applications fail to fully combust by the time they leave the rocket nozzle. Essentially, this is wasted energy, which limits the performance of the system. Alitech, on the other hand, causes these pieces of fuel to micro-explode or convert to gas prior to leaving the nozzle, therefore providing much more efficiency and much more performance. As an example of what this can do, we'll look at the Army's long-range missile system, which today, and using traditional fuel, can travel 300 kilometers. By switching out that fuel for Alitech, we can increase that range to 414 kilometers. Now, as Alitech is a drop-in replacement for virtually any system that uses solid propellant, we can do this across a broad array of solid propulsion systems, and they are many. The market currently spends $6.2 billion on solid rocket motors each year. Now, to take advantage of this market opportunity, we have made significant progress to date. First, we've raised $8.3 million. These dollars have been spent towards getting to our minimum viable product and also scaling up our manufacturing capabilities. We've recently been awarded up to nearly $5 million of government contracts. These contracts pick up where our live flight test left off, scaling Alitech into larger and larger systems with an eye towards full production in actual platforms in the future. And finally, we've been awarded $5.1 million of incentives to locate our rocket fuel manufacturing facility in Indiana. This facility will be capable of producing very large quantities of our Alitech rocket fuel and support significant demand from the customer. In addition, we recently leased a facility in southern Mississippi. This facility is compliant with all the Department of Defense's requirements for both safety and for classified work. And by the way, we're getting that at very below market costs. In terms of commercialization, we are currently doing rocket motor research and development. This is taking our fuel and putting it into very big platforms with the goal of getting it into actual production systems. In a year from now, we'll be producing our rocket fuel in very large quantities to support that future demand. And finally, in the future, we view a growth adjacency as rocket motor production, because currently it's dominated by two companies, Northrop Grumman and Aerojet Rocketdyne. We can certainly beat these competitors on performance, but we can also beat them on cost, as we are a much more flexible, smaller, and nimble organization. To support that growth, we're raising $7.5 million. Raising it to support additional hires, engineers and laborers, because we are currently understaffed. We have too much work and demand from the customer. In this industry, we need a lot of influence in both Washington, but with our customer. So we're raising additional money for sales and lobbying. We've got a minimum viable product, but we need to refine the process more. We'll also need operating capital. This is to service debt we've taken on to pay for manufacturing facilities, buy inventory, and also give us additional runway if the adoption process is slower than expected. And finally, there will just be things that we don't anticipate, and we want to have extra cash for that. This raise is intended to get us to fielding on full production system to enable our company to be profitable. Team is Brandon Terry, was the inventor of the technology, got his PhD at Purdue. I'm Chris Stoker, the CEO and primary fundraiser and strategist. And Stefan Coburn leads our business development. Our advisory board is made up of industry experts in both solid rocket fuel production as well as government. Together, we're committed to putting Alitech in every motor, to enable the US and its allies to dominate their adversaries.